here and who we like and who we sort of hold in very high esteem. But it was notable that he never really said, oh, and he's staying. He talked about we've got to work out what our options are up front, and we have got a lot of players at the moment. So I think everyone is pretty clear on the idea that him and Ronaldo is not an obvious partnership. I think Morata's handling it respectfully and with an awareness that it might not be possible to get the fee they want for Higuain this summer, and if it isn't, then perhaps there will be a need to make them coexist. But I think that the likely outcome is still that Higuain finds a home somewhere else, because, look, he wants to be the guy. He doesn't have a natural fit at Juventus. It just makes sense for him not to be there next year.
So you talk about somewhere else. Where else could it be, Paolo?
Well, Chelsea is certainly a place that conversations are happening. We know that Sarri is a big fan of Higuain. They had a great relationship at Napoli. Indeed, it was at Napoli under Sarri that Higuain really blossomed and got to be a main man striker for the first time really in his career. So I think it's absolutely plausible that that could happen. But we know also at the moment that Chelsea have got their own situation trying to move on Alvaro Morata. So I think those two deals might be contingent on one another. The other team that's been mentioned a lot in Italy is Milan, where there's been talk of Juventus maybe trying to send Higuain to Milan as part of some sort of exchange to bring Leonardo Bonucci back to Juventus, because Bonucci has made it clear that he would like to go back to Juventus. So, again, possible, but in Milan's case, really no money to spend there at the moment after the sort of flip of ownership to the Elliott management group. Leonardo, who's just come in to lead the transfer policy as a director, has been clear about that. We're not going out into this market to spend crazy money. So for that to happen, it would have to be an exchange deal. And, at the moment, the values being talked about, I think that Juventus would like to make a bit more on Higuain than perhaps they would value Bonucci at.
How likely is it, meanwhile, we talked about Alvaro Morata, that he's going to be in a Chelsea shirt come the start of the new season?
It feels a bit like a case of dominoes at the moment, to be honest with you. It feels like all of these things, if one falls, so say Chelsea do find an agreement with Higuain and they feel like they need to move on Morata more urgently, that's the sort of thing that could push it. But it's kind of waiting for someone to make the first move, for one of these pieces to get going. So if Chelsea found a buyer for Morata and they were happy and got the money in, that could get Higuain moving, or vice versa. It's sort of waiting for one of these things to happen. But if you're asking for my hunch, my opinion, I expect Morata to be gone, and I expect Higuain to be gone from Juventus as well, whether or not that is to Chelsea.
What a year it has been for Bonucci. You think we were sat here this time last year, Milan fans excited, pulling off that big transfer, thinking this is it, this is going to be the stepping stone to get us back into the big time. And boy, has it gone wrong, and gone wrong quickly. And suggestions now, Leonardo, as you mentioned, coming in as the director of football now at Milan, and saying basically, yeah, it looks like Bonucci could be leaving. Juventus very much open to the offer that he could return to Turin. It looks like this is going to happen.
Well, Beppe Marotta is being very sort of clever with his language. That's the Juventus CEO, of course. With his language in all of this sort of transfer talk, he's said, oh, well, look, our defence right now is set. We've got all the players that we need. But, of course, we think highly of Leonardo, and when we are talking with him, and if there's an opportunity, we'll see. So, again, it might depend on Juventus selling someone, but I think there's no question that Juventus know what Bonucci can do. I think that Massimiliano Allegri, as manager, has almost pulled the most incredible power play that I can think of for any manager, in that at the time when he dropped Leonardo a season ago for a Champions League knockout tie against Porto, everyone's like, wow, that's a big statement against a player who's widely considered one of the absolute best centre-backs in the world. And, of course, Bonucci then leaves, Juventus go and win everything again, and Allegri comes out of it looking stronger. Now Bonucci is literally asking to come back, and Allegri's still there going, okay, but it can all be on my terms. So it's an extraordinary situation, but of course Juventus know how much they could benefit from him. Of course Giorgio Chiellini, who's still there, would be excited about pairing back up with Bonucci and knowing what they could do together. And of course, look, Bonucci's got to be looking across the aisle right now and saying, hey, they've got Ronaldo. They're a little bit closer to making that step that we all wanted to make together before I left.
Hello and welcome into Extra Time. Thank you very much.
Hold on, we're talking here.
Hey, hang around.
We're having all the yesterdays here. You coming in with...
Okay, that's a lot of yesterdays.
Oh, that's a nasty
what's going on with Paul Mariner and his suits? You didn't let him dress like that when you were with the Revs, did you, Stevie?
Well,
What
fortunately we had tracksuits and that we had to wear, so we didn't see any of this.
What's wrong with the gear then? What's the problem?
Where's your machine gun for the start?
You look like you're ready for a regatta.
Did you get through security with it? Oh, security's got it, hasn't he? Took it off you in the way in.
I'm ready for a lot of things.
What's the inside? Normally the inside. Oh, look at that.
It's my sharks,
Is
isn't
that
it?
piranhas?
Look at that.
Oh,
Look.
whatever. You're the expert on fishing.
Why don't they do it?
All day long he's been popping at me, this fella. He's going to get some...
Did you see the Paul Mariner #9 branding on the inside?
No, I didn't.
Look, show
Where
it.
is it?
Look,
Where the hell is it?
there.
Where did you see it?
There, look. There it is.
Oh, why does it say number 9?
That's the house number.
Is it? Yeah. I'll give that out.
Hey,
Just give it
It's
a...
like-
hey, he's been trying to wind you up all day with that
He's
car.
managed. He's
See that
managed
car?
as well. Oh, hey, that's another story. The car. I've not got my hands on it yet.
It'll be fine. We'll sort it out.
If you could have only seen in the makeup room the talk about Uber and Paul.
Hang on. Let's go to Vara. What's Uber?
It's too hard. Stevie and Darky teaching Maras about Uber.
Uber.
I'm not happy about it.
It's German, isn't it? For very good.
If I can work Uber, anyone can do it.
Have you used it yet, though?
Yes, I used it in St. Petersburg, Russia, for the first time, and it worked. Amazing. And I didn't even have to speak Russian to the cab driver. It just happened.
St. Petersburg. Oh.
Yeah.
Because you have to walk 2 miles once you drop this car off.
Well, that's fine. I don't mind.
Good
Why
point,
don't you get an
Simon.
Uber?
I'm not on Uber.
Well, get on it.
I don't want to get on it.
Why?
I just
doesn't
don't fancy
trust
it. I don't trust it.
What do you mean? They're not going to nick your suit, are they?
You see,
the conversation
Just
to have.
you see my phone about the number of, what are those things called? That are on, those apps, right? All those things are on it. I've got enough of those things on.
Right.
I don't want any more on it.
Okay, all right. Paolo's here, ladies and gentlemen, in hot. It's hot, apparently, in England, hence he's wearing his sunny shirts. What does AC Milan have to do, Paolo, to be at the top of the football world once again? How long will it take?
Oh boy, I think a little bit at this point, to be honest with you. Look, they've got to unpick a lot of what they tried to do last year already, because there was some overspending done by an owner who is no longer at the helm of the club in what feels a bit, with hindsight, predictable. That you had an owner who was overreaching what he could afford, and Elliott Management have come back in and taken control of the club. Now look, Elliott Management are a fund that specialises, as we knew at the beginning, in distressed debt, and generally the plan would be for a situation like this, having effectively repossessed the club because loans weren't repaid, would be to look for another buyer, be to look for someone who can come in and take it off their hands, that they make a profit and it goes on to someone else who perhaps will steer it on to something bigger. But I think that's probably the mode we have to view this current era of Milan ownership in, is that it's transitory. It's waiting for the next person who actually wants to take the club on. They have good enough players there right now, I think, to be competing to play in the top 4, and we're not expecting a sort of total exodus this summer. There might be 1 or 2 pieces leave. Certainly Leonardo Bonucci looks like he could be on his way back to Juventus. But yeah, I think there's going to be a little while yet, and presumably a new ownership group yet, before we see Milan really getting back to competing at the top end in Europe.
Hey, Paolo, is that hat, is it a one-off, or can you buy them somewhere? You get them in the department store.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Is Neymar...
Cornwall again.
Is Neymar still rolling around on the pitch? You're in Russia. Did you see him roll around at all?
I thought he was an embarrassment, and it's interesting. He is not on that list, the short list.
Yeah,
for
the
FIFA
top
best
10.
player.
Yeah.
So maybe there was a little message even from the world's governing body.
Well, he's up there.
Why does he? I don't know. On high.
The governing
Why does he need to do that? Why does a player that good need to do that?
We
I don't know. Maybe the answer is not there.
we talked to
Ask him. He knows.
Ryan. What annoys you the most about modern day footballers? You're a modern day footballer.
What annoys me the most? I don't think there's any one thing that I can generalize with
But
the
you're
modern
not an
day
easily annoyed man, are you? You're quite placid.
What about players trying to get each other cards? Fellow
happened back
pros.
in the day.
But it's annoying, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's not just modern day. But yeah, that's annoying.
Stevie, let's talk about modern day.
Falling over.
Falling over.
Falling over. It's embarrassing.
Flopping and diving.
Maris?
Flopping and diving.
Yeah, falling over.
Yeah, same thing.
What about if I ask for a different answer?
But flopping and diving in the box, a little bit more dangerous.
Isn't it the same thing?
Well, not if the ref gives a pen. You might
What's
lose the
different
game.
from a
You might
flop
lose the game 1-0.
What's the difference between a flop and a dive?
Not much. Not a great deal.
So can
There's
he-
some nuance.
Why is it more
Nuance.
dangerous?
Hang on. There were one or two divers back in your day too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nickel. Points at Nickel's day.
Mr. Dalglish occasionally, Franny Lee at Manchester City.
Sir Kenneth.
I'm not the only
Sir
one.
Kenneth.
Not a diver, no, but he knew it. He knew how to get a penalty.
That's fighting talk.
No?
See,
Come on, defend him then.
You're coming in. You're now coming
in
into
his
the
house.
realms of Moreno,
You're in his house.
Alejandro Moreno. It's being smart enough when your defender's committing himself that you get your body in the way.
Wait a second. Wait a second.
Whoa.
Are you saying that
So he knew how to
Ali
get a penalty.
didn't dive?
No,
Or what are you saying?
no. His premise
Okay.
was correct.
Okay.
The difference is there's a difference between that
Yeah.
and somebody actually full force hitting you.
Right.
Yeah.
Dalglish had the brains to get himself in the way of a big square-head centre-back who didn't even know where anybody was and was just rammed straight into
That's fair.
position. That's fair.
I didn't know what you were
Ali
trying-
Moreno didn't do that. Ali Moreno would just sniff out any sort of touch and then throw himself on the ground.
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify. 'Cause
annoys
I
you-
thought you were saying Dalglish and Moreno were the same.
No, same premise, but slightly different.
What
He was a
annoys you?
brilliant player.
What annoys you the most?
I don't like to see players kind of having a plot to get a player who's already been booked. Now we're going to target him, make sure we get him a red card as well. I think there's something cynical about that, and I think
No, that's what you do.
yeah, well there we are. Yeah, it's
what you do.
it's
I played for
gamesmanship, but you don't. I don't
All
like to
this-
see it as a preconceived plot.
Do you know what
First of all,
annoys? Oh,
all of this was happening back in the day. We just have cameras now that catch it a lot more.
there you go. Do you know what annoys
It's
me?
modern. It's just stuff
Modern
that
day commentators. Statistics.
Statistics.
Useless statistics.
I agree.
No one cares
I
about.
couldn't agree more.
Crowbarred in to fill a comment. I don't care.
Ian,
Oh, these.
Hello,
I
very
played for the manager.
That's the first time you've said that on a.
I actually played for a manager who in the pre-match team talk was going around asking about anybody, can you get somebody a yellow card? Can you get them a red card?
Wow.
They were actually asking, who's going to do it? Are you nasty enough to do it? Who's going to do it?
Why are you whispering?
it happens.
You don't go up. You don't do that.
that conversation-
You annoy yourself.
That must have been the
Conversation
Scotland
happens at the
manager.
international level all the time. Knowing your opponent that you're playing, wait a second, that guy's on a yellow. If he gets another yellow, he won't be playing in the next game. So, listen, if there's a way to have
Skullduggery, it's called.
Oh, my lover.
Skullduggery.
Doesn't mean we have to like it.
No.
Oh, right.
No, I agree.
All right.
But
I think that's it. I think we've run out of time, extra time. I think you ate your fish too much.
Enough abuse for today.
Are you back tomorrow?
No, I've got to drive. I've got to drive home.
and walk
I haven't been home
2 miles.
for a week.
Oh, you got that car sorted out, have you?
No, I haven't.
Why don't you get an Uber?
Oh my goodness. No.
We're going to begin today's transfer rater with Stevie Nicol in Spain. Keylor Navas, is he the Real Madrid #1 going into the new season, do you think, or will they let him go?
I'm going to go with history. The last 3 years, everybody's been trying to get rid of Keylor Navas from Real Madrid.
It's true.
There's been David De Gea, now it's Courtois. But this guy's a real goalkeeper. This guy's won the Champions League the last 3 years in the trot. This guy's going nowhere. He is staying.
See, when we got these 5 via email earlier today, I'm sure you were the same Pogba to Juventus. What?
I'm sorry, no. even if Juventus wanted him, which they probably do, where are they getting the money? There's a little thing called financial fair play now, which I won't bore you with because it's boring as the day's long. So there's absolutely no way that this guy is going anywhere. So is that an in? That's an in, right?
To Juventus?
No, so it's an out.
What do you want him to be?
So is he into Juventus or out of Man United? Make your mind up.
He's not going anywhere.
Right, exactly.
Anyway,
That's fair enough.
does Vidal go to Inter?
This is a tough one. I don't think Bayern can afford to let this guy go. But at the same time, he seems to me like a guy who's there for 2-3 seasons and then gets itchy feet and wants to go. So I think he wants to go. I don't think Bayern can let him go. So I guess that's an out, right? Because I'm confused now. What's in and what's out?
As long as you explain it, then we'll just play around. Where would he fit in at Spurs? I did the Spurs game last night. Lucas Moura's back. Couple of goals, big season for him. Son Heung-min came on. Eriksen played. Ali, Kane. Is that a possibility?
In my opinion, Zaha is absolutely perfect where he is. I think when he went to Manchester United, the spotlight was too big for him, and he couldn't handle it. And if Zaha's been offered to Spurs and he has the opportunity, I think he's going to start thinking about Manchester United and how it all went wrong, how he couldn't handle it. He's loved at Palace. He's been fantastic at Palace. I don't think he's going anywhere because I don't think he would want to go to Spurs. So, again, that's over to you.
Okay. Richarlison, 50 million. Rabiot, out of contract in 2019, 40 million. Looks like it will probably happen either this year or next. That's a bargain if he goes, is it not?
Great signing. Great signing, Rabiot. I mean, early 20s. He's got a decade in him at the top. Barcelona are going to get him, as you say, for 40 million, which seems like a snip. The question I asked myself to begin was why would PSG even consider letting this guy go? But as you said, he's only got a year left in his deal.
Yep.
And I think clearly Rabiot doesn't want to stay there.
He would have signed a new deal.
He would have made noises about a new deal. He probably figures like the rest of us, are PSG ever going to win the Champions League? Right now, I don't see it. So you go to Barcelona where you have a chance. So I think this is absolutely a nap that it's going to happen.
Okay,
Yep.
so Rabiot's a definite according to Stevie Nicol. Paul Pogba to Juventus? No, not today. Should they stay or should they go? The Liverpool transfer rater with Stevie Nicol. Big squad that Jurgen Klopp has now got. You're going to tell us if the players, and there's two more, the 7 of them, should stay or should go, beginning with Daniel Sturridge.
I've been saying for 2 years that Daniel Sturridge should go, so no surprise. Daniel Sturridge should go. Thank you.
I'll have
But
this
he ain't
one.
going anywhere, by the way. No chance.
By the way,
He's on. Nobody's buying him.
Danny Ings is still at Liverpool.
Yeah.
Will he still be there when the transfer window shuts?
Danny should go.
Should go.
At the end of the day, in my opinion, my humble opinion, Danny's a good Premier League player. Danny's not a top 4 striker in the Premier League, in my opinion, and so he won't play. So he needs to go as well.
Another one for me?
Yep.
2-0. Divock Origi.
You can't get rid of everybody. They do need some backup. They do need some help. Divock Origi hasn't been able to show his best. Never had a real run in the team, but you know, to come in and play the odd game from the start or come off the bench, I think he'll do fine for Liverpool. So he'll definitely stay, in my opinion.
Okay, 2-1. I'm suspecting this is going to be 2-2 after we talk about Adam Lallana, and you can have him. No discussion required.
Needs to go.
Yeah, this guy's had a lot of discussion about him, the goalkeeper, Loris Karius. He's not going to be number 1 now. Do they hang him around? Do they keep him? Do they let him go?
Well, you need a backup that you know can come on or step between the pipes for a couple of games and make some saves.
So who is it, that one or that one?
Well, it can't be Karius because not only will the fans have his mistakes from last year in their mind,
He'll have them.
but he will have them as well. So Karius has to go for his own good, and Mignolet stays. You know, he's competent, is what he is. He's a decent Premier League goalkeeper. He's not a top 4 Premier League goalkeeper, but as a backup, Mignolet stays.
This will decide if I win 4-3 or you win 4-3. Before we speak about Alberto Moreno, just quickly, as a former Liverpool left back, among many other positions yourself, how good do you rate Andrew Robertson?
I think any coach, when they put a team on the field, they want to know what they're going to get. I think you know exactly what you're going to get with Robertson. Very consistent. He's a good defender. He's getting better going forward. So, no question. I'm not surprised that Andy Robertson is the starting left back for Liverpool.
Is he Nicol-esque?
You shouldn't be asking me that. I have no idea.
Do you see parts of his game in your game?
You're asking the wrong person, I told you. Don't ask me. How would I know?
So you keeping him as his backup or not?
I would prefer to have somebody else, but I think he probably just about makes it in the Mignolet range of he can come on and play okay for a game, but he can't do it consistently. So until they get somebody else, he's staying.
Tell you what, we'll just have to write another book. People's views on Stevie Nicol, because he doesn't tell me about himself.